My name is Heather Purcell. I'm 31. Last Saturday at 7:47 p.m., my father shoved me so hard at his retirement party that I hit the floor in front of 80 people, and when I looked up from the polished marble, his second wife, Victoria, was standing over me with champagne in her hand, smiling like she'd just won something. "That seat," Victoria said, her voice cutting through the jazz quartet, "is reserved for my real daughter." I was on my hands and knees in a $200 dress I'd bought specifically for this night. The Willowbrook Country Club smelled like prime rib and old money. My palms pressed against cold stone. Behind me, my husband Marcus stood frozen, his hand still extended from where he'd tried to catch me. Around us, silence spread like spilled wine. Colleagues from my dad's firm, neighbors from the old street, my Aunt Janet gripping her purse so tight her knuckles went white. My father didn't help me up. He adjusted his cufflinks and turned back to the head table where Brooke, Victoria's daughter, my stepsister, sat in the chair I'd been walking toward. The chair with my name card. The chair where I was supposed to sit for his retirement speech. "Richard," my Aunt Janet's voice shook. "That's your daughter on the floor." "I have one daughter," my father said. He didn't even look at me. "And she's already seated." Before I go on, if stories about standing up for yourself mean something to you, please hit like and subscribe and tell me in the comments where you're watching from right now and what time is it there. Because what happened next, what my husband pulled out of his jacket pocket and laid on that white tablecloth, it changed everything. But I need to take you back 8 years to understand how we got here. Let me take you back to the summer I was 23, 2 months after I graduated from Clemson with my engineering degree. My mother had been gone for 6 years by then. Breast cancer, stage 4, 14 months from diagnosis to burial. I remember the exact moment my father told me he was getting remarried. It was a Thursday. I was home for the weekend, sitting at our kitchen table reviewing load calculations for my first job interview. The AC was broken, and the house smelled like my mother's jasmine hand soap, because I'd found 3 bottles under the sink and couldn't throw them away. My dad walked in with a woman I'd never seen before. "Heather," he said, "this is Victoria. We're engaged." Victoria was wearing white linen and pearls. She smiled, but it didn't touch her eyes. "Your father's told me so much about you," she said. Then she looked at the engineering textbook spread across the table. "Still doing that bridge stuff? Richard says you're very dedicated." The way she said dedicated made it sound like obsessed, like pathetic. "I'm a structural engineer," I said. "I inspect bridge integrity, analyze load-bearing stress points." "How nice." Victoria's hand settled on my father's shoulder, possessive. "Richard works with real buildings, commercial development, things people actually see." My father laughed. Actually laughed. That was the first time I felt it. That shift. Like the ground beneath me had developed a crack I couldn't see but could feel in my bones. The way I'd been trained to detect structural failure before it became visible. "I brought someone for you to meet too," Victoria said. "My daughter Brooke is parking the car." Brooke walked in 3 minutes later. She was 25, blonde, wearing a Tiffany bracelet that caught the light. She looked at me the way you'd look at furniture that came with the house, something you'd tolerate until you could afford to replace it. The wedding was 6 weeks later. I wasn't asked to be in it. I showed up in a navy dress and sat in the 4th row. At the reception, Victoria made a toast. "To new beginnings," she said, her hand in my father's. "To finally having a complete family again." I was standing right there, 10 feet away. She looked directly past me. That should have been my first warning. But I was 23 and stupid, and I thought if I just worked hard enough, stayed quiet enough, proved myself enough, my father would remember who I was. 3 months later, I got my first big project, forensic analysis of the Riverside Avenue Bridge after a partial collapse. No fatalities, but significant structural compromise. I worked 16-hour days for 8 weeks, documenting every crack, every corroded bolt, every point where the original 1970s design had failed to account for increased traffic loads. I called my father to tell him. I was so proud. I'd been published in the State Engineering Journal. My supervisor said my analysis might change safety protocols statewide. That's wonderful, honey, he said. But his voice was distant, distracted. Listen, Victoria needs me to look at something. Can I call you back? He never did. 6 months later, Victoria started making comments. Small ones, surgical. Your mother's dishes are so old-fashioned, Richard. We should donate them. That photo of Heather's graduation is taking up space in the study. Brooke needs room for her marketing awards. Does Heather really need to keep calling? We're trying to enjoy our Sunday mornings. I'd call and get voicemail. Then I'd call again and the voicemail would be full. Then I'd text and get nothing. Then I'd show up at the house and Victoria would answer the door with this patient smile. Heather, we weren't expecting you. I just wanted to see Dad. It's been 3 weeks. He's resting. You know how stressful work has been. She didn't move from the doorway. Maybe call first next time? But calling didn't work. The texts went unanswered. The emails bounced back. I didn't realize I was being erased until it was almost complete. The real betrayal came on a Tuesday in March, 3 years ago. I was at a job site in Canton, 90 miles from home, inspecting load-bearing columns in a parking structure. My phone rang. Unknown number. Is this Heather Purcell? Speaking. This is Donna Webb from Whitman and Associates Benefits Administration. I'm calling about your father Richard Purcell's retirement account. My stomach dropped for no reason I could name, just instinct. The way you know a structure's wrong before you see the crack. What about it? We've received updated beneficiary paperwork. I'm calling to confirm. Did you authorize the change removing you as primary beneficiary? I was standing in a concrete parking garage. Cars driving past, their engines echoing. I pressed the phone so hard against my ear it hurt. What change? The form submitted last month redesignated the beneficiaries. Previously, you were listed at 50% and your late mother's estate at 50%. The new form shows Brooke Ashford at 100%. Donna's voice was careful, professional. The signature appears to be yours, but we have a policy of verbal confirmation for major changes. I never signed anything. My hands started shaking. I never even saw a form. I see. A pause. The sound of keyboard typing. The submission came through a personal Gmail account, not our standard portal. And the notary stamp looks... The registration number doesn't match our records. It's fraud, I said. My voice came out flat, dead. Someone forged my signature. I can't make that determination, Ms. Purcell, but I can flag this for review. However, I need to inform you, if you're alleging fraud, you'll need to file a formal dispute and provide evidence. The account holder would be notified of the investigation. The account holder, my father. If I do that, I said slowly, he'll know I'm questioning it. Yes. I stood there in that parking garage for 20 minutes after we hung up. Cars came and went. My supervisor called twice asking where I was. I didn't answer. That retirement fund was worth $420,000. My mother had made my father promise, before she died, when she could barely speak, that half would go to me. She'd known she was leaving me with him. She'd tried to protect me the only way she could, and Victoria had taken it. No, not just taken it. She'd forged my name, submitted it through a fake email, blocked my access to my father so I couldn't warn him, couldn't defend myself, couldn't ask why. I drove back to my apartment that night and opened my laptop. I pulled up every family photo I had. My mother was in 90% of them. Me and Mom at the beach, me and Mom at my Clemson graduation, me and Mom in the hospital, her bald from chemo, both of us smiling because we didn't know yet that she only had 3 weeks left. I went to my father's Facebook page. He'd removed every single one. His profile photo was him and Victoria at some gala. His banner image was Victoria and Brooke at Christmas. I scrolled back 3 years, 4, 5. Not one photo of my mother. Not one photo of me. I'd been deleted. I called my Aunt Janet. She answered on the first ring. Heather? Oh, honey, I've been trying to reach you. Dad blocked my number, didn't he? Silence. Then, 3 months ago, Victoria told him you'd been harassing them, calling at all hours, showing up uninvited, making accusations. I called twice a week, always during normal hours. I know, baby. I know. Her voice cracked. I tried to tell him. He won't listen. He just. Since Victoria, he's different. She's got him convinced that you're bitter about the remarriage, that you're jealous of Brooke, that your mother spoiled you and now you can't handle not being the center of attention. She forged my signature, I said. She changed Dad's beneficiary form, took me off completely, gave everything to Brooke. Janet sucked in a breath. Jesus Christ! I need to talk to him, in person. He needs to see the proof. Heather, listen to me. Janet's voice went hard. I've watched Victoria operate for 3 years. She's smart. She plans. If she forged that document, she has a story ready. She'll make you look crazy. She'll make Richard choose. And honey, I hate to say it, but right now, he's going to choose her. Then what do I do? You document everything. You keep your head down. You wait. Wait for what? For her to get sloppy. People like Victoria always do. But Victoria didn't get sloppy. She got bolder. 2 weeks later, I was at my office, a small engineering firm in North Charleston, 3 of us total, working mostly insurance claims and municipal contracts. My boss Hank was 60, ex-military, fair. I was reviewing foundation reports when my desk phone rang. Purcell Engineering, this is Heather. I'm calling from Riverside Medical Center Billing Department. We have an outstanding balance of $8,400 for emergency services rendered to Richard Purcell on April 2nd. You're listed as responsible party. My blood went cold. What emergency? Is he okay? Minor cardiac event. He was treated and released, but the insurance claim was denied due to, let me check, a lapsed premium payment. You'll need to settle the balance within 30 days or we'll send it to collections. I'm not the responsible party. He has a wife, Victoria Purcell. Our records show you as primary emergency contact and financial guarantor. We have your signature on file from his admission paperwork. I was never at that hospital. I didn't sign anything. The woman's tone shifted, colder. Are you refusing to pay? I'm saying someone forged my signature. Again. I hung up, called the hospital back, got transferred 4 times. Finally reached someone in records. I need to see the admission paperwork from Richard Purcell's ER visit on April 2nd. Are you the patient? I'm his daughter. Someone used my name fraudulently. I can send you a copy for a $25 processing fee. I paid it. The forms arrived 3 days later. There was my signature, guaranteeing payment, authorizing treatment. Except I'd been in Greenville on April 2nd, presenting my Riverside Bridge findings to the State Department of Transportation. I had the conference schedule, the hotel receipt, the parking validation stamped 9:15 a.m. through 4:30 p.m. I couldn't have been in 2 places at once. I called my father's number. Blocked. I called his office. His assistant said he wasn't taking calls from me. I emailed, bounced back. Victoria had locked me out completely. I went to my father's house. It was a Saturday morning, 10 a.m. I knew he'd be home. I rang the doorbell. Victoria answered. She was wearing a silk robe and holding a coffee mug that said, "World's Best Mom." Heather. She didn't smile this time. Richard made it clear he doesn't want contact. Someone forged my name on hospital documents. I could be held liable for thousands of dollars. That sounds like a personal problem. It's fraud, Victoria. She leaned against the doorframe, casual, comfortable. Is it? Or is it just another one of your stories? Like how you claim I stole your mother's dishes when Richard donated them himself. Like how you say I removed photos when Richard simply updated his decor. You have a pattern, Heather, of making yourself the victim. I want to talk to my father. He doesn't want to talk to you. She said it so simply. like it was just a fact. The sky is blue, water is wet, your father doesn't want you. You're lying. Am I? She sipped her coffee. He's upstairs. I can go get him. But Heather, think about what you're doing. You're going to force him to choose. In front of me. In front of Brooke. And when he tells you to leave, when he says he's done with your drama, you'll have your answer. Is that really what you want? I stood there on that porch for 30 seconds. The sun was bright. Birds were singing. The neighbor was mowing his lawn. That's what I thought, Victoria said. She started to close the door. Why? The word came out broken. Why are you doing this? She paused, looked at me with something almost like pity. Because I can, she said. Because your father loves me more than he ever loved your mother. Because Brooke is everything you're not. And because in about 18 months, when Richard retires, that $420,000 is going to pay for her wedding, her house, her future, not yours. She smiled. You're already gone, Heather. You just haven't figured it out yet. The door closed. I sat in my car for an hour. I didn't cry. I couldn't. Something had hardened inside me, but it wasn't anger. It was clarity. I drove to my office. It was Saturday, but I had keys. I opened my laptop and started a folder. Documentation. I put in every email that had bounced, every blocked call log, the hospital forms with the forged signature, the beneficiary change notice from Donna Webb. Then I called Donna. Ms. Webb, this is Heather Purcell. I need to officially file a fraud dispute on my father's retirement account. I was hoping you'd call, she said. I've been with Whitman for 22 years. I know what a real signature looks like. That form bothered me the day it came in. If I file this, it becomes official, legal. Yes, your father will be notified within 72 hours. The company will freeze all beneficiary distributions pending investigation. Do it. 6 weeks later, I got a call from an attorney, not my father, not Victoria, a lawyer named Marcus Chen from Whitman's legal team. Ms. Purcell, we've completed our preliminary investigation into the beneficiary fraud claim. We'd like to meet with you in person. Are you available this Thursday at 2 p.m.? What did you find? I'd prefer to discuss it face to face. Can you make it? I took a half day off work, drove to Columbia. The law offices were in a glass tower downtown. Marcus Chen was 40, sharp suit, kind eyes. He had a manila folder 3 inches thick. Before we begin, he said, I want to be clear. What I'm about to show you is confidential pending legal proceedings. You cannot share this information with anyone except your own legal counsel. Understood? Yes. He opened the folder. On top was the beneficiary form with my forged signature. Beneath it, a notarization certificate. Beneath that, a comparison analysis done by a handwriting expert. The signature is a forgery, Marcus said. Amateur, but effective. The notary stamp, however, is fake. The registration number belongs to a notary in Oregon who retired in 2019. The submission IP address traces to a Starbucks in Mount Pleasant, 2 miles from your stepmother's residence. Security footage from that date shows a woman matching Victoria Purcell's description using a laptop at 2:47 p.m., which matches the timestamp on the email submission. I couldn't breathe. You have proof. We have proof of fraud. What we don't have is proof of who committed it. Victoria could claim someone stole her laptop, used her email, impersonated her at Starbucks. He slid another document across. But then we found this. It was a phone record, Victoria's cell number, highlighted calls to the benefits office, asking about Richard's account balance, asking about beneficiary procedures, asking hypothetically what would happen if a beneficiary was changed without the original beneficiary's knowledge. She called 7 times, Marcus said, gathering information. Then the forged form shows up 3 weeks later. What happens now? Whitman is pursuing criminal charges. Your father's account is frozen. Victoria and Brooke are named in the fraud complaint. He paused. Your father is also named as a potential co-conspirator, pending investigation into whether he knew about or authorized the forgery. He didn't know. I said it automatically, then stopped. At least, I don't think he did. We'll find out. But Heather, there's something else. He pulled out a handwritten letter, old paper, dated 8 months earlier. This was in our files, hand-delivered by a woman named Janet Purcell, your aunt, I believe. She brought it to our office before the fraud even occurred. She said she was worried about your father's new wife, said she'd witnessed concerning behavior. This letter is from your mother. My hands shook as I took it. The paper was cream-colored, expensive. My mother's handwriting. I'd know it anywhere. Dated 2 weeks before she died. To whom it may concern, it began. How did my aunt get this? I whispered. Apparently your mother gave her multiple copies, one for you, one for the benefits administrator, one for the family attorney. She was thorough. I read it right there in that office. Marcus Chen looked away, giving me privacy. The letter said my mother knew my father would remarry. Said she knew any new wife might try to erase me. Said she'd set up protections. Documented the beneficiary split legally. Made Aunt Janet executor of a secondary trust. Left instructions for Donna Webb to flag any changes to Richard's retirement account. I won't be there to protect you, my mother had written in her neat script. But I've done everything I can to protect you anyway. You are my daughter. You are a brilliant engineer. You are loved. Don't let anyone make you forget. At the bottom, she had signed, All my love, little star. Little star. She'd called me that since I was 6. Because I'd told her I wanted to build bridges to the stars. I folded the letter carefully, slid it back across the desk. What do I do now? I asked. You wait, Marcus said. The investigation takes 60 to 90 days. Your father will be questioned. Victoria will be questioned. If the evidence holds, criminal charges will be filed. Whitman will restore the original beneficiary designation and potentially sue for damages. He looked at me carefully. This is going to destroy your father's relationship with Victoria. Are you prepared for that? I thought about the erased photos, the blocked calls, the 3 years of silence. Victoria's smile as she closed the door in my face. I'm prepared, I said, but I wasn't prepared for what happened next. 2 months later, I got an email. Not from Marcus Chen, not from Donna Webb, from my father's executive assistant at his commercial development firm. Mr. Purcell requests your presence at his retirement celebration. Saturday, December 14th, 7 p.m., Willowbrook Country Club, formal attire, RSVP, by December 1st. No personal note, no apology, just an event invitation. I called Aunt Janet. He invited me to his retirement party. I know, he invited me too. She sounded tired. Heather, the investigation went public last week. His colleagues know, the firm knows, half the country club knows. Victoria is telling everyone you're making false accusations to get money. She forged my signature. There's proof. I know, baby, but she's convincing. She's got Brooke crying on Facebook about how you've always been jealous, how you're trying to ruin their family, how your mother's death made you unstable. She's playing the victim so well people are starting to believe her. Should I go to the party? Janet went quiet. Then, I think you should. I think you should go and hold your head high, because Victoria's plan is to make you disappear. If you don't show up, if you hide, she wins. But if you walk into that room, people will have to see you. They'll have to acknowledge you're real. What if Dad doesn't want me there? Then let him say it, to your face, in front of everyone. I bought the dress. RSVP'd. I told my husband Marcus, yes, same name as the lawyer, different person. We'd met at a bridge inspection site 2 years earlier. He was a civil contractor. He knew exactly who I was and what I'd been through. I'm going with you, Marcus said, and I'm bringing copies of everything. The fraud complaint, the phone records, the handwriting analysis, all of it. Marcus, you can't... Yes, I can. If she wants to play this game in public, we'll finish it in public. The night of the party, I put on that $200 dress, navy blue, my mother's pearl earrings, my Clemson ring, the one she'd bought me for graduation. engraved with "Build Your Dreams, Little Star." We drove to Willowbrook Country Club, valets, white glove service. Inside, the ballroom was full of round tables with gold-rimmed china, centerpieces of white roses, a slideshow playing on a projection screen showing my father's 35-year career. Not one photo of me, not one photo of my mother. Victoria stood at the entrance in a red gown, Brooke beside her in pink. They were greeting guests like it was their party. "Heather," Victoria said when she saw me. Her smile was perfect, practiced. "How unexpected." "I was invited." "Were you?" She glanced at Brooke. "I must have missed that on the RSVP list." "It's fine, Mom," Brooke said loudly, intentionally. "Let her stay. It's Dad's night. We can be gracious." People were watching, colleagues, neighbors. My Aunt Janet standing near the bar, her face pale. Marcus took my hand, squeezed. We walked into the ballroom, found our table. Not the head table, but a side table near the kitchen. The table for people who didn't quite belong. The evening proceeded. Speeches, toasts. My father stood at the podium and talked about his career, his achievements, his family. He thanked Victoria for her support. He thanked Brooke for her love. He didn't mention me. At 7:45 p.m., they served dinner. At 7:46, I got up to use the restroom. When I came back, Victoria was at my seat. She'd moved my place card. "Actually," she said, loud enough for nearby tables to hear, "we need this seat for family photos. You understand." I looked at the head table. There was an empty seat. The one with my name card originally. The one I'd been assigned. "That's my seat," I said. "No." Victoria's voice went cold. "That seat is for my daughter. For Richard's real daughter." The jazz quartet stopped playing. 80 people turned to look. My father stood up from the head table, walked over, slowly. His face was unreadable. "Dad," I said, "I just want to sit with you. It's your retirement. I'm your daughter." He looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time in 3 years. Then he looked at Victoria. "Richard." Victoria's voice trembled. She pressed a hand to her chest. Tears formed instantly. "I've tried so hard with her. I've tried to include her, to love her like my own, but she hates me. She's always hated me, and now she's here ruining your special night." "I'm not ruining anything," I said. You accused me of fraud." Victoria's voice broke. "Perfect performance. You told lies to Richard's company, to his colleagues. You filed false reports. They're not false." Marcus stepped forward. He pulled a folder from his jacket. "The fraud investigation is real. The evidence is real. And every person in this room deserves to know the truth." My father's face went red. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" "Showing you what your wife did." Marcus opened the folder, pulled out the forged signature comparison, the phone records, the Starbucks security photo showing Victoria at a laptop. "She forged Heather's signature. She stole $420,000 from your daughter. She blocked Heather's calls, removed her from your life, and lied to you for 3 years." The room went silent. Victoria laughed. Actually laughed. "This is insane. Richard, he's making this up. They're both—" "Donna Webb from Whitman Benefits can confirm everything," Marcus said. "She's been tracking this fraud for 6 months. She's the one who flagged the forged beneficiary form." I saw my father's face change, saw him recognize the name. "Donna," he said slowly. "Donna called me last month. She asked about a signature change. I told her I didn't know anything about it." "Because Victoria submitted it," I said. My voice was steady now, calm. "She forged my name, changed your beneficiaries from me and Mom's estate to Brooke. She did it while you were at work, while she was blocking my calls so I couldn't warn you." Victoria's perfect composure cracked. "That's a lie. Heather signed those papers herself. She just doesn't remember because she's been unstable since her mother died. Everyone knows it. Everyone's seen it." "Then explain this." Marcus laid out the engineering conference schedule from April 2nd. Heather was in Greenville presenting to the state DOT when someone forged her signature on your hospital admission forms in Charleston. She was 90 miles away. She has proof. Time-stamped parking validation, hotel check-in, conference attendance log, 50 witnesses. My father took the papers, stared at them. "You didn't even have a cardiac event on April 2nd, I said quietly. "Did you?" He looked up. "No, I had a routine checkup on April 5th. "Then why do hospital records show an ER visit on the 2nd with my signature as financial guarantor?" Victoria's face went white. "Mom," Brooke whispered, "what did you do?" "Nothing," Victoria's voice went shrill. "This is a setup. They're working together to frame me because Heather's jealous, because she can't stand that Richard chose me, that he moved on from her precious mother." "Don't," my father's voice cut through the room. "Don't you dare talk about my wife." "I am your wife," Victoria said. "My first wife, Sarah, Heather's mother." His hands were shaking. "What did you do, Victoria?" For 3 seconds, nobody moved. Then Victoria's mask dropped completely. "I did what I had to do," she said. Her voice went flat, hard. "You think that money should go to her? She didn't sit with you through Sarah's death. She didn't rebuild your life. She didn't make you happy again." "I did. Brooke did. We earned that money. Not some girl who shows up twice a year and expects to be treated like she matters." The room erupted. Gasps, murmurs. Someone said, "Oh my God." My Aunt Janet stood up. "Richard, I tried to tell you. For 3 years I tried." "You all tried to turn him against me," Victoria screamed. "All of you. Janet with her lies, Donna with her rules, Heather with her constant victim act. Well, guess what? I won. I married him. I got the house. I got the life. And I got the money for my daughter, who actually deserves it." "You forged legal documents," my father said. His voice was dead. "You committed fraud. Prove it." "We already did." Marcus pulled out one more paper. "This is a confession from the notary you paid $500 to create a fake stamp. She kept a copy of your check. She's cooperating with Whitman's legal team in exchange for immunity." Victoria's face went from white to gray. My father looked at Brooke. "Did you know?" Brooke was crying. Real tears this time. "I swear I didn't. She told me Heather signed the papers willingly. She said Heather wanted to give me the money because she had her own career and I was struggling with student loans and you believed her," I said. Not angry, just tired. "You didn't ask why I'd give up $420,000. You didn't call to thank me. You just took it." "I'm sorry," Brooke whispered. Victoria grabbed my father's arm. "Richard, please, I did this for us. For our family. You said yourself Heather doesn't need the money. You said—" He pulled away. "Get out." "What?" "Get out of my retirement party. Get out of my house. Get out of my life." His voice cracked. "You made me lose 3 years with my daughter. You made me a stranger to her. You used my grief to erase my wife's memory, and I let you because I was weak and lonely and you were there. But this?" He gestured at the papers. "This is criminal. This is unforgivable." Victoria looked around the room, at the 80 witnesses, at Brooke sobbing, at me standing quietly with Marcus's hand in mine. "You'll regret this," she said. "All of you." She grabbed her purse and walked out. Brooke followed. The room stayed silent for 10 seconds. Then my father turned to me. "Heather," he said. I held up my hand. "Not here. Not now. But you need to finish your retirement party." I looked at the 80 faces staring at us. "These people came to celebrate you. So celebrate." I picked up my purse. Marcus followed me. We walked out into the December night. It was 48 degrees. Clear sky. Stars everywhere. "You okay?" Marcus asked. "No," I said. "But I will be." We drove home in silence. When we got to our apartment, I made tea. Marcus sat next to me on the couch. "Your mother was smart," he said. setting up all those protections. She knew. I stared at the steam rising from my mug. She knew what kind of person my father would marry. She knew I'd need help. What are you going to do about him, your dad? I thought about it. About 3 years of blocked calls, 3 years of erased photos, 3 years of being told I didn't matter. I don't know yet, I said. But I know what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to pretend it didn't happen. I'm not going to accept some half-hearted apology and go back to being the daughter he throws away whenever it's convenient. Good. 60 days later, Victoria was charged with fraud, forgery, and identity theft. Brooke wasn't charged. The investigation confirmed she didn't know about the forgery. My father's retirement account was restored to the original beneficiary designation. 50% to me. 50% to my mother's estate, which Aunt Janet managed, and which funded a scholarship for female engineering students at Clemson. My father called 14 times in those 60 days. I didn't answer. He sent emails. I didn't respond. He showed up at my office once. I had my assistant tell him I was on a job site. On day 61, I finally called him back. "Thank you for answering," he said. He sounded old. "I'm listening. I'm sorry. I know that's not enough. I know I failed you. I let her manipulate me. I chose her over you. I pushed you away when you needed me most." "Yes," I said. "You did." "Can I see you? Can we talk in person?" "Not yet." "When?" "When I'm ready. If I'm ever ready." Heather, you don't get to decide this, Dad. You lost that right when you shoved me to the floor in front of 80 people and said I wasn't your real daughter. Silence. "I understand," he said finally. We hung up. 6 months later, I met him for coffee. Neutral ground, Starbucks on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. He looked smaller somehow. Grayer. "Thank you for meeting me," he said. "I'm not promising anything, I'm just here." "I know." He stirred his coffee. "Victoria's trial is next month." "I know." Brooke moved to Atlanta. She's doing marketing for a nonprofit. She wrote me a letter apologizing for believing her mother. She sent one to you, too. I got it. Did you read it? Eventually. We sat in silence for a minute. "Your mother would be proud of you," he said. "The way you stood up for yourself. The way you documented everything. The way you stayed calm even when I—" His voice broke. "Even when I hurt you." "Mom knew this would happen," I said. "She prepared for it. She protected me because she knew you wouldn't." He flinched. "That's fair." "I'm a structural engineer," I said. "I'm trained to see when foundations are damaged, when load-bearing structures are compromised, when something's going to collapse before anyone else notices." I met his eyes. "Our relationship collapsed 3 years ago, Dad. You just didn't see it because you didn't want to." "Can we rebuild?" "I don't know. Maybe. But it won't be the same foundation. It can't be." "What does that mean?" "It means you don't get automatic access to my life anymore. It means you earn it back, slowly, with proof, with time." He nodded. "Okay." We finished our coffee, made plans to meet again in a month, maybe. I walked out into the afternoon sun, got in my car, drove to my office. That night, Marcus and I had dinner on our balcony. Pasta, white wine, the city lights below. "How was it?" he asked. "Hard," I said, "but necessary." "You think you'll forgive him?" "I think forgiveness is overrated. I think what I need is something different. Boundaries, respect, acknowledgement." I looked at the stars. "I think I need him to understand that love without action is just words." Marcus raised his glass. "To foundations that hold." "To foundations that hold," I echoed. A year later, my life looks like this. I'm still a structural engineer. I got promoted to senior analyst. I'm working on a bridge redesign project that'll be featured in the National Engineering Journal. My father and I have coffee once a month, sometimes twice. We talk about work, the weather, safe things. We're building something new, slow, careful. Aunt Janet had a stroke but recovered. She lives 10 minutes away. We have Sunday dinners. Brooke and I aren't friends, but we're not enemies. We follow each other on Instagram. She likes my photos sometimes. Victoria took a plea deal. Probation, community service, restitution. My apartment has a photo of my mother on the mantel. She's wearing her jasmine perfume. I can almost smell it when I look at her smile. I have a cat named Star. I have a husband who stood with me when I had nothing. I have a career I love. I have boundaries that protect me, and I have the knowledge that when someone tried to erase me, I documented my existence so thoroughly they couldn't. If you're watching this and someone in your family has made you feel like you don't matter, like you're asking too much, like you should just be quiet and accept being erased, type "I exist" in the comments. Or if you've already walked away from people who couldn't see your value, type "I walked away." Both are valid. Both are brave. And if this story meant something to you, check the description for more stories about finding your voice when everyone else wants you silent. Thank you for being here. And remember, silence isn't peace. Silence is the price you pay for someone else's comfort. You don't owe anyone your erasure.